Friends Rachel Green is a hilarious and highly relatable comedy heroine who was such a compelling character because we got to watch her grow so much over the course of the show's 10 seasons. But the reason she had so much room to grow is because she started out with some pretty wrong ideas about life. She spent the show's run learning and evolving, and often fumbling.
There's rock bottom, 50 feet of crap, then me.
But she always managed to get back up in the end with the help of her friends. So let's take a look back at what Rachel got wrong, how she overcame those negative mindsets, and how even if the show forced her to regress a bit at the end, not all hope is lost.
Isn't that just kick you in the crotch, spit on your neck fantastic?
Rachel begins the show with a pretty strongly held cool girl attitude. She's not a girl's girl and generally sees other women as competition.
That's okay. Girls tend not to like me.
In high school, she was the popular head cheerleader and by all accounts, generally not a terribly nice person.
Well, maybe that's because you spent 4 years ignoring me.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's not so much you. You were fat. You had your own problems. But you, what a...
The way she treated people in high school continues to stay in their mind for years after graduation. She barely remembers these people and her poor treatment of them, but it really affected them on a deep level.
Will, I just want to say that I'm real sorry for whatever I did to you in high school.
Oh, it wasn't just me. We had a club.
Rachel can be quite judgmental of others, especially other women.
Here I am about to pop, and he's out picking up some shop girl at Sluts R Us.
While she was close friends with Monica when they were younger, she clearly on some level thought she was too cool to hang out with her. This is part of what led to them drifting apart as they went to separate colleges and started working their way through young adulthood. But once Rachel realizes that this cool girl life she secured for herself actually kinda sucks, she comes crawling back to Monica because deep down she knows how important that real friendship connection is.
I just didn't know where to go, and I know that you and I have kind of drifted apart, but you're the only person I knew who lived here in the city.
Who wasn't invited to the wedding?
Rachel is incredibly focused on looks and how she's perceived by others, and so she judges everyone else by that same metric as well.
People were looking at us like we were crazy. Why do you care? Because they're people. But people that you don't know and will never see again.
But over time, we can see how she begins to grow out of this mindset and realize that being cool doesn't actually matter and won't bring you happiness, and that she's much better off just being free and even a little weird. Because she was raised in a family where she was told to put her looks above everything else and strive for material things, she often has a hard time not centering herself. And she often doesn't always think through how her choices will affect others.
Oh, and my father. Oh, my God, this is horrible. I've been trying so hard not to be my mother. I did not see this coming.
Her self-centered nature is something she constantly has to fight against and is hard to outgrow because for so long it was the key to her success in life. Being pretty and getting attention from people, especially men, was all she felt like she needed for a long time. So it takes time for her to begin noticing this part of her personality and working to stop it. And sometimes this part of her just focuses on putting her wants and desires first, leads to some hilarious results.
We are dessert stealers. We are living outside of the law.
But other times it can mean she's quite rude to those closest to her. Sometimes it's more on the side of thoughtlessness, like when she decides she'll be moving in with Monica without asking Monica, or when she accidentally left her flat iron on and nearly burnt down Phoebe's apartment.
It looks like a curling iron.
I don't use a curling iron.
Well, someone does.
Hey, don't look at me. My hair's straight. Straight.
Could have been a hair straightener.
But other times it's actually kind of messed up, like when she hires Tag to be her assistant over the actually qualified person just because he's super hot, and then goes on to date him while she's his boss.
He's so pretty. I want to cry.
Her desire to be the center of attention and make sure she's always getting what she wants can make her a bad friend on occasion. She has a bad habit of stealing Monica's thunder, from announcing her pregnancy on the day of Monica and Chandler's wedding, to stealing Monica's baby name, to getting back with Ross at Monica and Chandler's engagement party.
Maybe this is selfish, and I'm sorry about it, but I was kind of hoping tonight could just be about that.
Oh, honey, but it is
No,
just
it's
about
not.
that.
No, now it's about you and Ross getting back together.
What?
See, yeah, you kind of stole my thunder.
It's been a struggle for their entire friendship, but thankfully Rachel does work to be a good friend and make sure that Monica gets her time to shine too. She might not always make the right decision on impulse, but she is willing to work to fix things when she messes up because she does value their friendship so much. She also gets to use her self-focus in a positive way when she decides to not let Ross bully her into putting her career aside for him. She worked so hard to start from scratch and build a life for herself, and it could have been easier to just give in and go back to her old ways and do what Ross wanted because he's the guy and he'll buy her things. But she likes the life she's been working toward, and she's proud of herself for doing it, and so she doesn't let him throw her off course.
My work, it's for me, you know? I'm out there on my own and I'm doing it. And it's scary, but I love it because it's mine.
Though then this circles back around in a more negative way when she decides to move to Paris with Emma without talking to him about it first. But maybe she just assumed since he was so willing to forget Ben existed, he'd be fine with Emma disappearing as well.
When's my daddy coming back?
52 minutes.
Rachel has a jealous streak that can lead her to be pretty terrible to other people when she feels like she's not getting her way.
I'm so happy and not at all jealous.
She grew up learning that it was important to be able to manipulate people around you into giving you whatever you want.
Jill? I'm sorry, Rachel. Oh, come on. You really think that's gonna work on me? I invented that.
And so, even into adulthood, she has carried with her the idea that she should always be able to come out on top, even if it takes being pretty shady to do it. We see this habit creep out a bit when she steals the date with Jean-Claude Van Damme from Monica after agreeing to talk to him for her, but thankfully, she did realize how not nice that was to do and gave up the date so Monica could go. But other times, Rachel isn't so willing to give up and let someone else win. She particularly has it out for any woman that ends up dating Ross. They were usually pretty miserable when they were actually together, but anytime they were apart and usually dating other people, that's when they'd decide they were truly meant to be. While Ross is the more obvious case of wanting what he can't have, having been pining after popular girl Rachel since high school, once they're together as adults, this habit comes out in her too. When they're broken up, she can't stand to see him dating anyone else. Even though most of his girlfriends are incredibly kind and even get along with the group, Rachel can't help but throw a wrench in things because of her jealousy. She even gets mad when others in the group try to be kind to these girlfriends, like when she gets mad at Monica for going shopping with Julie.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did my back hurt your knife?
She's not above pulling out her old school mean girl tactics when she's feeling jealous either. When Ross takes an interest in free spirit Bonnie, Rachel goads her into shaving her head so that Ross won't be attracted to her anymore. Or when she decided last minute that she was going to fly to London to stop Ross's wedding and tell him about her feelings for him, only to not tell him at the last minute while still sending the wedding off the rails.
Hi, Ross. Take thee, Emily. Take thee, Rachel. Emily.
Initially, Rachel saw nabbing a rich guy and getting married as the end-all be-all goal of her life. But then, after ditching her wedding to Barry and taking on the real world with her new friends, she began to realize that there was a lot more to life.
Mom, I realize you and Daddy were upset when I didn't marry Barry and get the big house in the suburbs with all the security and everything, but this is just so much better for me.
But while she did recognize that that mindset didn't serve her happiness, it did take her a long time to really leave it behind. She ended up falling back into that same pattern with Ross, letting him and their relationship take precedence in her life in a destructive way.
Ross and Rachel. Rachel and Ross. That's been one heck of a seesaw, hasn't it?
She didn't let him ruin her job, at least not at first, but she did throw a lot of the other parts of her life off course for him, especially her other relationships, because she was stuck on the idea that he was the one. But it also, to some degree, just seems to be that he's the one that's always around, like a safety net she knows will be there if she gets cold feet or bored with some other guy. And we can see this take her in a different direction when she tries to date Joey, just because he's there. And even agreeing to marry him when he accidentally looked like he was proposing after she gave birth to Emma. Though to be fair to her there, she had literally just given birth, and so wasn't really in her right mind. In the end, this habit of falling back to the safe option of focusing her life on a guy creeps up once more as she gives up her dream job in Paris to stay with Ross, who will never stop being Ross.
We're done being stupid.
Okay. It's you and me, all right? This is it.
This is it. Unless we're on a break.
Rachel wasn't a perfect person, but she did grow and learn from her mistakes, even if that didn't always stop her from making new ones. But that's also what makes her relatable. In life, we often feel like for every step we take forward, we end up tumbling 2 back. She's a great example of how you can break free from the stereotypes that bind you and the negative ideals you were raised with, and choose to live your life for you.
I feel that if I can do this, you know, if I can actually do my own laundry, there isn't anything I can't do.
But she's also a cautionary tale of what can happen if you let those same issues start creeping back in over time. And to be fair to Rachel, a lot of her regression was more on the writers low-key flanderizing a lot of the characters in an attempt to keep the show's drama alive and try to recapture the magic from the earlier seasons by making these older versions act more like their younger selves they had to grow out of. But at the end of the day, just because she did go back to her old ways a bit and didn't seem to have fully learned from all of her mistakes doesn't mean that she'll be stuck forever. We watched Rachel try and fail and try again until she succeeded over and over again over the course of the show's 10 seasons, so there's no doubt that even after choosing to stay in New York with Ross, that she still would have had the drive to find a different path for her career while continuing to build the life she wanted for herself and her family. More than anything, the most important lesson we can learn from Rachel is that the key to life is that you just have to keep putting yourself out there and trying your best until you get things right.
I was spoiled, self-centered, and you guys really took care of me.
Yeah, Monica made us.
Oh, whatever. I really appreciate it.
That's the take. Click here to watch a video we think you'll love, or here to check out a whole playlist of awesome content. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. And make sure to subscribe to our Patreon for exclusive new videos.